Welcome back to Zantastic. This is the podcast where we talk about what makes you fantastic. And, sometimes life just doesn't feel all that fantastic, does it? Sometimes it's hard. Uh, let's see. I have house stuff that's broken, as it always is. There's always something with houses. My brother used to joke that houses are for people who don't like their money very much. Mark is having some health issues. We're getting through it. He's doing just fine. And the dog has been sick over the past couple of days. So my life is taking care of all of these other things. And there's some stresses kind of coming in from the corners. And yet, I'm okay. I adopt this philosophy of life is happening for me, not to me. I am not a victim of all of these things. I just don't know what is on the other side of it. Now, I trust my intuition deeply when it comes to anything. And I firmly believe that everything is a message and a symbol. It is something to learn from, whether it is an issue that Mark is going through, a bird flying by my window with a snake in its talons. Yes, that happened a couple of weeks ago. A plumbing leak, the air conditioner going out. Whatever happens in my life is happening for a reason, and it is happening to serve me. Even if it looks like a bad thing, even if it looks like it is an expensive thing. Over the past couple of weeks, I have been just getting these intuitive nudges to buy a certain thing, a certain supplement. And then the dog started having issues. And I'm like, oh, that's why you said that I should get this thing and proactively give it to the dog. I now have the thing and the dog's going to be just fine. If you listen to your intuition, it's giving you everything that you need. And if a problem shows up in your life, if something shows up and it's hard and it's challenging and it feels like a loss, it is clearing space for something else. Now, I have another potential loss happening in my life right now, and I'm trying to look at it as if it is blessing me. But there's this big empty void on the other side of this event that could happen, and I can't see what it possibly could be leading to. Sometimes you're driving down the highway and the headlights only show you the next few lengths ahead of you. It doesn't show you where you're going. It doesn't show you the destination when you are in the midst of transition from one place to another. It's hard to tell where you're going to end up. But if you have a sense of where you're going to end up, like for example, you're driving from Dallas to Colorado Springs, and you know where the destination is, you can put up with some of those unknowns of not knowing, what it looks like driving through Amarillo, for example. You can put up with the unknowns if you understand the final destination, right? You can put up with, I don't know what this journey really looks like, but that final destination, that pin in the future, gives you a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose. But there's a lot of times where we just don't know where we're ending up next. And that can cause a lot of stress and anxiety. It can cause you to go into paralysis. It can cause you to go into fear or catastrophic thinking. It can cause a lot of emotional reactions. But what are those emotional reactions at their core? At their core, there is a part of you, your egoic self, your ego, that wants to keep you safe, that wants to keep you protected. And so it wants to go over every possible outcome and prepare for it, to sort of unpack it, to maybe ruminate on it and figure it all out. If you have a very active mind or an active imagination, this type of mental process could be something that takes over all the time. I know it does for me. I have a very analytical mind. I mean, I used to clean hacked sites. I used to build websites. Analytical work, technical work is always really good for me, mostly because it gives my mind something to do so that my creative side can have an outlet. So there are certain things like intuitive arts that require a lot of math and analysis and angles, like astrology, that have always been very interesting to me because it gives my analytical mind something to do, so then the intuitions can drop in. So I found myself to be able to like look at a chart, kind of do the, beautiful mind math and figure out where all the angles are pointing, the squares, the trines, all of that stuff, and then intuitively understand how the archetypes are playing against each other. Not that I'm going to be an astrologer, but I find that activity to be very interesting because I get these intuitive downloads that come in when my ego mind will step out of the way. But if I don't have something for my ego mind to do, it can create all of the angles. It can create all of the possible permeations. It can create and invent all of the what ifs. And that doesn't serve me. And I'm sure it doesn't serve you either. If you have a big black hole in the future of your life, of wherever it is that you think you're going or what might happen, then you can create a lot of anxiety. Your mind becomes overactive. You might wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and start trying to figure it out. You can't outthink that kind of thinking. There is nothing I can tell you to think that is going to stop you from doing that. If that is happening and it's interrupting your sleep, if it's interrupting your relationships, your creativity, then the only thing you can really do is to use your physiology to interrupt that process. Deep breathing, pranic breathing, breathing in for 4 counts, holding it for 4 counts, and then an elongated exhale of like 8 counts can relax your nervous system to the point where your mind starts to quiet down. Another thing that you can do that I learned from my husband is to relax the back of your tongue. The back of your tongue actually is sort of a gateway into what they call the alpha state. And the alpha state is much more creative. Your mind, your egoic mind, the one that is really good at doing accounting, the one that's really good at figuring out how to fix a hacked site or how to figure out geometry, that mind is not going to find the solution. It's not going to intuit the path forward. It doesn't know what you want. It knows how to keep you safe. And that's what it tries to figure out. It wants to keep you safe. It does not necessarily believe that life is happening for you instead of to you. It wants to keep you safe from threats, from risks, from problems. It wants to figure it all out. So you either have to give that mind something to do, or you have to dissociate from those thinking processes, because those thinking processes can take over. They can spin out of control and create thoughts that hook into patterns of emotions, and they can paralyze you. You can go into fear states pretty quickly if you let that part of your mind take over. So what do? Well, you can do the deep breathing. You can associate sort of a picture or a shape or a texture or some kind of sensory data that goes along with that thought process and the emotions that come from it. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? And where in your body is it showing up? Then take it out of your body, put it in front of you, and ask it what it really wants you to know. Most of the time, it's just trying to keep you safe because it doesn't believe that you are. And in the old days when there were the saber-toothed tigers running around, there were times when it was very useful to figure out how to stay safe. But there's a larger part of you that isn't necessarily concerned with security. That larger part of you is concerned with, how do we have more fun? How do we play? How do we create the next big thing? But if you are just focusing on the fear of, oh my gosh, this thing's going away, and what am I going to do, and what am I going to do, and how am I going to take care of all of these things in my life, and stress, anxiety, worry, what ifs, if all of that's going on, the larger creative part of yourself that's ready to play, the larger part of yourself that actually will serve that egoic part of yourself that wants to keep you safe, that doesn't get any room to play because that analytical mind is taking over. So the part of us that is creative, the part of us that is intuitive, the part of us that knows the answer needs to be the one that is more in control. Although that part doesn't really want control, does it? That part just wants to play and experiment and see what happens. In meditations and in sort of these therapy sessions that I do, it shows up as playful energy. The symbolism shows up to me as playgrounds or kids' toys, things like that. That playful part, that wants to do things. It wants to experiment. But it doesn't necessarily want to be in service of keep safe, right? So the egoic part, it's not in service to that, but that keep safe part wants to be in control, because control is how we keep everything okay and we keep things safe and we keep danger away. So what do? You have to balance this out. You have to realize that there's a larger part of you that is in control, always has been in control, knows where you're going, knows the final destination, understands the path of getting there. It's just sort of this smaller part of yourself, of the thinking, analytical mind, that has to know the answers, has to know the way, has to know how we're going to get there, has to know what's on the other side of the headlights, has to know everything. We can thank that part of ourselves for being there. I mean, it's not there to hurt us, is it? It's there to keep us safe. But what does it believe safety is? Is safety running away to the mountains, having an off-grid property and never talking to anybody in civilization ever again? Well, part of my world, part of my egoic self is like, remember we did that and it was okay, right? We had a lot of fun. You had mountains and meadows and had a great time. Yeah, okay, so we were safe. But were we safe from fires? Not necessarily, analytical mind, but it has memories of being safe in that way. You can't lock everything down and run away. That's not the answer. The answer is to play. The answers come through play. The answers come through experimentation. The answers come from your flow. Magic and miracles happen when you are in flow. Things that would have never occurred to you before don't come from that security-focused mindset. They come from the place where magic comes from, where you are wondering what if from a positive side, where you are wondering what could happen if you tried this thing that has a big visionary view of the world, the part that knows who you really are. That's where the magic and the miracles happen. Getting there just requires saying thank you to the part that wants security, asking it to trust you that you will find the answers and that you have always been taken care of, that life is always happening for you. So those negative things that are happening, know that they're there for the highest good. Even if it's a health challenge, there's a message in it for you. Every single thing that shows up in your life has a message for you. There's some learning. There's something that you need on the next leg of your journey that you can't get any other way. Otherwise, it wouldn't be showing up. Sometimes negative things can happen because it's cutting you off from a path that is making you miserable. It's cutting you off from a path that no longer serves you, cutting you off from a path that is going to hold you back from your higher purpose, from greater play, greater exploration, and greater joy in your life. Everything is trying to get you back to that centered part of yourself where play is everything, where miracles happen, where you find greater joy. Now, those of you that know me, you know my life is a little challenging. You know, I'm a caregiver for my husband, got a house to take care of, a teenager who's got wheels now and is exploring the world. Huh, Life 360, what would I do without you? Actually, I am trying not to follow her every journey. I believe she's at work right now, but I didn't watch her drive there. So this is progress, right? There are plenty of temptations of anxiety, worry, and not feeling safe in my life. Plenty of them for you as well. It doesn't mean you just throw caution to the wind. It means that you choose to believe that life is happening for you, not to you, and that you aren't in charge of your protection. Esther Hicks would talk about how she would have all of these worries in her life and all of these things that she needed to get done, right? And so Abraham told her to take a sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle, and on one side of the sheet of paper, write down everything that she could do today, right now, things that you can do, that you have control over. Write all those things down. And then on the other side, all the things that you don't have control over. And then you just turn that over to the universe. There are things in my world I have no control over. I can't solve the puzzle. It's a Rubik's Cube that doesn't work. I can't do it. That goes on that side. And when it's time to solve that problem, I know that I will be given everything that I need in order to solve that problem. Until then, I'm not going to worry about it because it's not my job. There is a problem upstairs in the attic that I need to get fixed, and I can't do it myself. I am waiting for a quote. When that happens, all I can do is call the guy, right? I can't fix it myself. So I'm waiting for the quote. When I get the quote, hopefully this contractor doesn't ghost me like the last one. We'll get the problem solved when it's supposed to be solved with the people who are supposed to solve it, and it's going to be better than I can imagine. And I turn it over. I don't worry about it. I worry about it a little bit, but it's not overtaking my whole reality. And for the larger things that worry me, I can't solve those things right now. I don't have the right puzzle pieces yet, but I know the puzzle pieces are coming. And I know that the only way the puzzle pieces will be here is if I follow my intuition, if I follow my hunches, to trust that there's a larger part of myself that will lead me to the place to make the right decisions, but not trying to force it from a place of analysis, of trying to make puzzle pieces fit together when they don't necessarily go together. There's a puzzle piece I'm still waiting on, and I wait, and I can't wait, and I hope that the puzzle piece that I want is the one that shows up. I hope this discussion helped you think about your worries in a new way, because we all have them. No matter how perfect someone's life is, they're worrying about something, because we all have that protective ego part of ourselves that is there to keep us safe. It is how we are programmed. But we have to understand that it's a tool. It should not be driving the bus. The larger part of ourselves, the creative part of ourselves, is the one that has the keys. It's the one that knows how to operate the bus. The ego part is along for the ride, and it will get what it needs and what it wants if it'll just let go and let the larger part drive. If this was helpful to you, I'd love a subscribe. I'd love a thumbs up. And if you need any kind of coaching through something that is driving you insane, I am taking new coaching clients. If you just want a one-off session, I do those. If you want a longer-term coaching arrangement, I do those as well. It's really up to you in terms of where you're at and what you need. All of that contact information is down below. I look forward to hearing from you if that is the case, but drop me a comment. Let me know how things are going for you. And we'll talk to you next time on Zantastic.